What's up, YTBC? And thank you for checking out the video. Today I'm talking about the guy you guys love to hate, and if you love him, you love him. And that's Gennady Golovkin, Triple G. Triple G has a lot of things going for him right now after getting Canelo Alvarez to vacate the WBC middleweight championship. There's been a lot of good publicity going around. That's in the YouTube boxing channels and in social media. You know, I've been on Twitter, I've been looking at Instagrams, and the memes that guys are coming up with, it's amazing and it's hilarious. And I can't get enough of that shit. The shit is too funny. So he's been getting a lot of publicity. He has a deal with Jordan. He has a deal with Apple. You know, he's a HBO's superstar right now. And he's getting a lot of push. You know, you'll see him on ESPN Deportes. You see him on ESPN Sports Nation. You know, his name is getting out. I mean, his last two fights, he sold out Madison Square Garden. That's 20,000 people. He sold out the Forum in LA, 16,000 people. And that's against fighters that if you're not inside of the boxing community, you wouldn't know who these guys were. And I didn't know who Dominic Wade was myself, to be honest. But that didn't stop me from watching the fight. Because, like I said, I'm a fan of Triple G. And I'll explain why. First reason I like Triple G is the style. His style is good to see back. You know, I'm glad that it's getting back in boxing. You have a guy that's seeking to destroy his competition. You know, you got another fighter in 2 weight classes up that's similar to Sergey Kovalev, and that's why I'm a fan of him also. But this video is about Triple G. So he's seeking to destroy his competition. That's whether it's in the ring or just bullying, punking guys, saying, give me my belt. If you got something that's his, either you're going to fight for it or you're going to give it to him. I like that. You know, this is a gladiator sport. This is not about economics when it comes to the fans. You know, we should not care about who's making what, how many pay-per-view sales they did, and all this stuff. That should not be the concern. The concern should be about if they were to get in the ring, who do you think will win the fight? And anyone in the middleweight division, I believe Triple G will beat them. You name them, it doesn't matter who you say. I'm going to go with Triple G. And I will put money on that. Triple G style is amazing. One is because it's more than just power punching and knocking people out. There's so much skill that if you don't watch boxing on a normal, you're missing a lot of shit. You know, to me, boxing is like a dance. If you just watch the feet of the fighters, you can pretty much tell who's winning the fight and how they're doing in a way. Just watching the feet, you don't even have to watch the punches, even though watching the punches is the main reason a lot of people watch the fights. I'm just saying it's like a dance. It's a rhythm that these fighters are going through. You know, if you take 2 steps backwards, that probably means the other guy's taking 2 steps forward. If you go side, he's going to go to the side, or that's what he should do because he should be cutting off the ring. You got the boxer versus the puncher. And those are the classic style of boxing matches I like to see. And that's what Triple G brings to it because he's going to come forward. And you'll even see him retreat sometimes because I've even went to go watch some of his fights before he even came to the United States. And Triple G can be slick if he chooses to be. Now, is he the most flashiest, you know, like a Manny Pacquiao, Amir Khan? No. And I love that shit also. But the substance of what Triple G is doing, the distance of what Triple G is doing, like he's in a perfect position where he'll be able to land his right hand and you can't even counter back with your left jab because the distance and the distance control that Triple G is utilizing is second to none. It's Floyd Mayweather level. You know, a lot of people might say Triple G has no defense. The only time I see Triple G really getting hit is when he's allowing guys to hit him. I mean, you might land a jab, and this is boxing. Everyone gets hit. Even Floyd Mayweather would get hit more than 150 times a fight, even though he's supposed to be the greatest fighter, defensive fighter of our era. But just Triple G style, I like it a lot. Another reason why Triple G is one of my favorite fighters is he's trying to be the first undisputed champion since Jermaine Taylor. Jermaine Taylor did it, and I think that's like maybe 10 years ago, some shit like that. It's been a long time. And that's something that we as boxing fans should like to see. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys were fans of Mike Tyson. And that's why Triple G's can get into comparison to Mike Tyson, not just because he's knocking everybody's ass out. It's the fact that he's wanting to be the man at his division. When Mike Tyson came up, when he fought the guys, he got his first belt. He didn't waste no time getting the other ones. He got in and knocked their ass out, and he won a decision with one of the guys as well. But he went to prove to the world that he's the best fighter in the world. And that's what Triple G is trying to do right now, 160. So the fact that he's trying to be the undisputed champion, so there's no debating about, oh, well, he never fought this guy or he didn't do this at 160. No, he's the undisputed champion. He has all the belts at 160. So if you want to make your name or be somebody at the middleweight division, it has to go through him. So that means he's getting all comers. Or that's the way it's supposed to be. Triple G's the champ at 160. But for some reason, the champion is looking for challengers. And that seems backwards to me. Normally how things go is the challengers looking to fight the champion because you become champion, you'll make a little more money, get a little more notoriety, get a little more famous, your name is out there and you're known, and, all the accolades come after that. But it's opposite when it comes to Triple G, and that just shows his dominance right now in boxing, what he's doing, because he has challengers ducking him, not willing to fight the guy. Now, you got a lot of guys out here, and I'm a fan of these guys as well. I like Erislandy Lara. He lives here in Houston. My best friend is Cuban, so I love the Cuban culture. I love their food. I'm very fond of the Cuban people. So I naturally started liking Erislandy Lara, especially after seeing that he was from Houston, seeing his fight against, Canelo, and I've seen his fights prior to that as well, but that fight really made me like him because I always felt Canelo was a hype job, and I felt like Erislandy Lara actually beat Canelo in that fight. But you have him calling out Triple G, and then you have Chris Eubank calling out Triple G. You had Andre Ward allegedly calling out Triple G. Who else that's mentioning Triple G's name? Gilberto Ramirez. It seems like a good prospect right now, even though he's a title holder. I've seen his last two fights. He looked great against Abraham. But the fight prior to that I saw on True TV, he looked like garbage to me. Like, I couldn't see him actually beating Abraham, but he did. Arthur Abraham. He beat him. Man, I predicted Arthur Abraham to beat him in that fight, but I was wrong. He either he was not fighting at his best in the fight I saw on True TV, or he really improved, like by 5 times improvement than what he did prior to that. So you got Chris Eubank, you have Gilberto Ramirez, you have Erislandy Lara, Kell Brooks mentioned Triple G. That seems like a joke. No, I don't want to see that fight. You really shouldn't want to see the fight. You already know that's going to be at least a 5-round fight. Kell Brook has no chance against Triple G. But a lot of people are talking shit that Triple G wants to fight Canelo. What's wrong with him fighting Canelo? Canelo's supposed to be one of the best fighters in the world. So that's a great fight. That's a big fight. That's something that's going to put boxing on the map. It's going to shine till the fight happens. The build-up for the fight is going to be amazing. A lot of people, the eyes are going to be on boxing. Boxing is going to get a a good look again. You know, ever since we had the Mayweather versus Pacquiao, a lot of people been down on boxing except for, you know, us hardcore boxing fans. So I already know Canelo's not going to fight Triple G, so I'm not worried about that fight no more myself. You know, he gave up the belt, clearly showing he doesn't want that work. You also, now you have Billy Joe Saunders, and I would prefer that fight to be next, just so he could go ahead and snatch up the WBO belt. Billy Joe Saunders is acting as if he doesn't mind getting in the ring with Triple G now. So if that fight can be made, I would love for it to be made, you know, because, well, first, I think Triple G is going to knock his ass out. But second, you know, he's going to be the undisputed champ, and he's going to complete his goal. And then after he completes his goal and he beats Bernard Hopkins' record of the defenses, then you can see him possibly move up within maybe 2 years or so and kick ass at 168. But until then, you know, he got to get his belts. So also another fight, even though I don't recognize Daniel Jacobs as the WBO champion, even though I know a lot of you guys just say, oh, he should fight Daniel Jacobs, he's the WBA. No, Triple G's the fucking WBA champ. He's the super WBA champ. The WBA regular champ, Daniel Jacobs, is the mandatory to Triple G's belt. So he already has the WBA belt, but Daniel Jacobs is a good name to have on a resume. He just knocked out Peter Quillen in the first round, which had a good name. And that's probably he has a bigger, you know, that name on Daniel Jacobs' resume is bigger than any fighter that's on Triple G's resume. And I'm just being honest. But I don't want to see that fight. Again, I don't see Daniel Jacobs beating Triple G because he was getting knocked down by Sergio Mora. And to my knowledge, last I've thought, Sergio Mora is not considered a knockout artist. Triple G is. And Daniel Jacobs has power, but like I said, Triple G, I'm sure he'll be able to take the punches because David Lemieux landed a couple left hooks flush on Triple G. He ate that shit like Scooby snacks. So, you know, it's a good fight. You got two hard-hitting fighters, you know, boxer, puncher, whatever you want to call them, going at it. It's a big fight. He did it in New York. You know, it's going to sell. If you guys like numbers and all that kind of shit, like to talk about the money aspect of boxing, it's going to do big things. I don't think it's a pay-per-view fight, but it's going to be a good fight. And I don't want it to be on pay-per-view anyway. I'd rather watch it on HBO. It's free. So that's another fight. If he can't get those fights, then, you know, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Erislandy Lara since this is what the public and the boxing world is craving for. Go ahead and beat Erislandy Lara. Get him on a resume. Then, you know, everybody gonna say, well, Lara wasn't ready. He's never fought a middleweight and all this shit, blah, blah, blah. You already know what's gonna happen if he beats him, when he beats him, if it ever happens. So go ahead and do that. But Lara has to understand he's not gonna get that million he's been getting since fighting with the PBC. He's not the A side, so he's not gonna get that money that he's looking for. And that's probably the main reason why the fight's not gonna happen. If he doesn't fight Lara, then I wouldn't mind seeing him fight against, you know, maybe Gilberto Ramirez, beat his ass, then come back down to 160 and complete what you're going to do. You know, just get a decent name on the resume. Now, I'm going to switch gears here. There was a video that I just seen not too long ago while I was out from this clown called John Boxing. He mentioned me in his video, and I'm just going to respond to him real quick because this is not what my channel is going to be about, you know, talking about other people's channels. John Boxing, you don't know shit about boxing.